I did want to just touch on Nigel Farage and what happened, because while the Liberal Party was busy getting thrashed because of its inability to actually come up with a strong message, the Reform UK Party achieved a historical milestone, which we cannot ignore. This is just enormous. Let's have a look at how the UK's, because what they won 10 councils, they secured 10 councils, control of 10 councils across England, hundreds of council seats. I think it was 600, 700 seats. And they won a by-election for the national seat of Runcorn and Helsby, overturning a substantial Labor majority.
16,000 votes, their 16th safest seat, Labor.
Yeah.
If those results hold up at the next general election, Nigel Farage and Reform, this is pollsters talking, will have a massive majority. So this is a once in 100 years. It's like when Labour came in and pushed out Liberals in the British Parliament in the 1920s. And Farage, first of all, would shun both those drinks for a nice pint of beer, which he does openly.
Fair enough.
And he has a cigarette, and he hangs out with normal people. He has a really nice common touch. But what you need to realize about Reform is we can't do it in Australia because they have first past the post.
Yes.
And we have, I don't mind compulsory voting. It doesn't bother me at all. But preferential voting is a protection racket for the two main parties. And there's no other countries that do it except Nauru or some South Pacific island. And there's a reason other countries don't do it. You cannot actually.
I want to talk about that. Let's have a chat. But let's have a look at Nigel Farage's victory as ITV News saw it.
It's been a good night for Nigel Farage as his Reform Party seizes the parliamentary seat of Runcorn and Helsby from Labour.
For the movement, for the party, it's a very, very big moment indeed. Absolutely. No question. And it's happening right across England.
Elsewhere around England, more than 1,600 council seats were up for grabs across 23 local authorities. There are also elections for 4 regional mayors and 2 local mayors. Also a good result for Reform on this front, as their candidate and once upon a time Conservative MP, Andrea Jenkins, became Greater Lincolnshire's first elected mayor.
The rebuilding starts here, and I think, look, British people are back of the queue, and I think they've had enough. So my policies will be centred around local people.
The rise of Reform not only poses a threat to Labour, but also for the Conservative Party, who say they were anticipating a very difficult night.
Okay, so here's how it finished up numbers-wise for Reform. Reform secured 677 council seats, a net gain of 648, and gained control of 10 councils. This includes taking councils from both Conservative and Labor control. We've got this chart up now. The blue are the council seats won. Sorry, the dark full colours are the number of council seats won, and the lighter colours are the number. The change in the council seats for that particular party. So Reform is there in teal green. They've picked up 648 new seats. The Conservatives in blue have lost 635. Wow. Okay. Any thoughts on that, Graeme? Yeah.
Well, I think it's important to be clear that there's a lot of talk about restructuring the party. The party, whichever party captures the best ideas will win. And the difference with Reform is that it's focused on the consequences of mass immigration in Britain, which the Tories in the last, when they were in power, famously did not. I mean, the Tories, when they were in power, of 12 of the last 20 years, allowed more people to migrate to the United Kingdom than in the last 1,000 years. So that's crazy talk. So despite all Boris Johnson's, lovely rhetoric about taking back control, they simply didn't do it. That's what Reform has captured. The other aspect is this is not just a reheated Thatcherism, right? There's much more of an economic nationalist edge to what those guys are proposing.
Right.
And that has not happened here. We still hark back to sort of Peter Costello and Paul Keating endlessly, and we need to rethink our economic framework because people on the left and right will vote radical if their economic circumstances are not changing. And people need to recognise that. And I think, with respect, some of the over 65s that are still in that sort of Hawke-Keating-Howard era haven't yet adjusted to the times, which is why they sort of object to and don't vote, vote for the new parties or the new right.
Graeme, sorry, just on the preferential voting thing too. I want to come back to that, but I love that point. Sorry, the preferential voting thing that Jim raised before.
Jim's right. So getting a new party started and operational is very difficult because of the preferential system. So any genuine, sensible reform, doable reform, has to be to reform the existing party. In other words, you change the constitution. Now, the constitution changes will be determined by the delegates.
The party constitution. Yeah.
The party constitution.
Yeah.
That's the delegates all over the country, not the
You
central
want that
executive.
direct election of the leader.
Well, there's a number of other changes that need to be as well. You've got to remove the minority control groups. Now,
Right.
there's a few things, but there's only about half a dozen things that need to be changed, and it will dramatically change it. And all of the changes would be supported by the delegates and the members that are left. There's only 25,000 left. And the median age, by the way, is 73. I'm an old person.
Right.
I actually remember.
Median age is 73.
Oh my
You
God.
better explain what that means for anyone who's been educated in Australia in the last 15 years. They won't know what median means.
But what this means is that there is a core of about 25,000 people, probably 20,000, who understand how a party works, and they're in the regions, and they're the basis of a party structure, which is pretty good by and large. It's just been captured at one end. And that's fixable. And in fact, I'm doing it. We've got a group together now, and we're going to write the amendments to the LNP Queensland one. We'll use that as a model and take it all throughout Australia. So if you're interested out there, get in touch with us. We're working on it.
Can I just want to say one other thing? Dan is totally right that the Reform Party in Britain's main critique has been immigration. But don't also forget, the first day that they won these elections last week, every council controlled by Reform said we're firing every DEI officer, and every single employee will no longer be working from home. They didn't run on these issues and run away the way Dutton did. They have actually stood up to them, and people voted for them. So it's not just immigration is big, I agree with that, but also transgender stuff, DEI stuff, working from home. Half the Liberal Party thinks you can't win on those culture issues. Mark Stein once said, everything is downstream from culture.
Absolutely.
How can you explain to people the importance of small business if they've been indoctrinated in universities and all they think is Marxist stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
You first have to fix the culture. You have to explain to them why a small, vibrant market economy matters. You can't just all of a sudden start making those arguments. And we give in on every culture fight.
That's
going.
brilliant.
We won't fight on anyone.
No, that's exactly right.
Really,
We've got to be prepared to have
really,
that fight. And
really
we didn't have
pisses
that
me
fight.
off.
And we've heard Abbott say it. We've heard Howard say it. I think. Was it Howard? No, Abbott mainly.
The guys working here, they don't get to work from home. I don't get to. Why should you get to work from home?
Well, one day a week, maybe it's okay.
You get
but
to
I mean,
learn
gotta
a
have
new
gotta be
sourdough
quality
recipe.
boss or whatever.
It's
It's like it's not for anyone but that employer to decide. I think, and he was only talking about government employees anyway. So
Can't even articulate that.
anyway, all right. So I think that brings us around. We are out of time, unfortunately. I'd love to keep talking. We've got to have a discussion about preferential voting because I'm not 100% sure that I thought it helped minor parties, but anyway, it apparently doesn't. So we'll talk about that on another show when we have a bit more time. But we are unfortunately out of time for tonight. Folks, if you like the show, please support us. Get onto our website, othersidetv.com.au, othersidetv.com.au. The other way you can support the show is to tell all your friends about it. So keep that word. We are growing significantly. We are making an impact on the media landscape in Australia now, and we intend to keep doing so. So keep supporting us. There's a lot more that can be done, and I think now it's going to be more important than ever that we get on board and do it. So do join us. Smash those subscribe and like buttons everywhere you can. Make comments everywhere you can. Have a debate on our channels and platforms, and enjoy. The other side doesn't get more than $1 billion of taxpayers' money to bring you news from a centre-right perspective like the ABC does to bring you news from a left-wing perspective. In fact, we don't get a red cent from the government. We need voluntary donors and supporters like you to keep going and growing. And we hate asking for charity, so we've done a deal with what we think is the world's best VPN, virtual private network service. It'll keep you and your family truly safe without slowing down your internet speeds, and you can watch Netflix or other streaming services using your regular accounts with them as if you're viewing from any country in the world. And you can sign up for less than $3 a month and get a whopping 83% off the normal price. Just go to piavpn.com/otherside to sign up and get more info. That's piavpn.com/otherside. That was a segment from a recent episode of our fortnightly news commentary show, The Other Side, with me, Damian Curry. If you liked it, support us. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube right now so you don't miss a thing. It's totally free. Just click that subscribe button and the little bell. And check out our Other Side Unplugged show too, and join our mission to actually do something and change Aussie media for the better at othersidetv.com.au. That's othersidetv.com.au. Check it out now.